Alright, good morning everybody. This is Abyssal Tech back with some more Naval Know-It-Alls. This time the Grim Reapers video on the HMS Warspite versus the USS Colorado. So this is a fairly decent matchup here. The Warspite, Queen Elizabeth class, is older. The Colorado, they are very similar both in their capabilities, and they both had pretty interesting services. So, let's go ahead and get started with the Warspite. The grand old lady herself. If ever a ship in the Royal Navy deserved to have its name retired, it would be Warspite. She was the most decorated warship in Royal Navy history. She fought in World War I, including at the Battle of Jutland, where when her rudder went out, pretty much the majority of the German High Seas fleet got to take a shot at her. She, by and large, shrugged it all off. She also took in World War II, following her refit, which you can actually, a good way to tell if you're looking at Warspite or another Queen Elizabeth class post refit, is Warspite was one of the first to be refitted, and during the refit the others lost their casements, and these two guns here for some more superstructure stuff, and these kind of circular 113 millimeter, I believe, guns. Don't quote me on that, but that's a good way to tell World War II pictures of the ships apart. Warspite is the only one with this deck gun configuration here. So she fought in the Battle of Narvik, where taking the normal, sane, rational mindset of taking battleships into close combat with destroyers, she didn't really pay attention to that at all, and definitely came out on top. She fought in the Indian Ocean, in the Mediterranean, where, while in the Med, she successfully scored one of the longest range hits of a battleship, where she hit the Italian battleship Giulio Cesare, probably butchering that pronunciation. If I have any Italian people watching this, please correct me without too much fire and brimstone. And also, while in the Mediterranean, she suffered a hit from a German Fritz X glide bomb. This hit basically hit the deck, and following that, you could look down through the deck and see fish. Really should have sunk her at that. That hit would have sunk almost any other battleship. In fact, there was an Italian battleship that took a hit from the same type of weapon, a far newer, more advanced battleship, and he did not survive that. But Warspite is the naval equivalent of main character energy. They mention in the video her plot armor, and yes, it felt like she had that. Unfortunately, pretty much the only reason she was never preserved as a museum ship was following the conclusion of the war. They looked at her and determined that she was pretty much being held together with chewing gum and spite, and the British naval budget did not allow for any new chewing gum. So, yeah. She had to be scrapped. She did not go quietly, though, breaking toes and running aground. Main character to the end. So now, the next ship, other ship in this, USS Colorado. Well, first off, this is not actually the Colorado here. Let me go back to recognition manual. This is the Colorado. So Colorado was not at Pearl Harbor. She was back in stateside, so she missed a lot of that. So she retained a lot of her pre-war configuration throughout the entire engagement. Every time they got on her near a shipyard, though, she somehow picked up another AA gun. Colorado class was the last of the American standard type battleships. Pretty much, she's just an upgraded Tennessee class. The upgrade taking the form of the twin 16-inch turrets. So also featured the turbo electric propulsion that was pretty standard at that point. Colorado did not have a very interesting service life. She pretty much, so her and her two sisters, Maryland and West Virginia, were the 16-inch armed ships that the U.S. Navy was allowed to keep via the Washington Naval Treaty, joining the ranks of the Japanese Nagato and Mutsu and the British Rodney and Nelsons. They formed the what was known at the time as the Big Seven. They were the only 16-inch armed ships in the world at the time. So, yes. During the war, she primarily engaged in shore bombardments. Not too spectacular. Her sisters, Maryland and West Virginia, were at Pearl Harbor, and Maryland suffered relatively little damage compared to most things. West Virginia, however, was sunk. And that is who we are actually looking at right here. So this is the West Virginia. So Colorado never had the 5-inch 38 mounts, and Maryland did not have this rebuilt superstructure here. She had twin funnels versus the one. So this is West Virginia.
21 commission.
Oh, I'm getting good, boys. I'm getting good.
Yeah. West Virginia. So I'll just refer to her as West Virginia for now on. So, by and large, these ships were very well matched. The British 15-inch gun was fairly well built, very powerful gun, had great performance. Really, the extra 2 inches of armor the West Virginia has on Warspite largely negated by their ranges. So you can see about 15 inches of armor is right around 25,000 yards based on the British gunnery table versus American armor. So, although the 15-inch gun will not be able to penetrate her deck until outside of 30,000 yards. So, yeah. In comparison, the American 16-inch gun, 16-inch 45 caliber gun, can penetrate Warspite's armor at about the same range bracket, with the added bonus of also being able to penetrate through the deck. That said, 26,000 yard plus, where Colorado would probably want to fight Warspite to have the most of an edge, you don't really score any hits there. So, by the time you actually get to the range they're at right here, the armor is almost useless at certain angles. This was a slugging match, though. While the British secondary battery did great work, the West Virginia's secondaries being largely out of action for pretty much almost the entire time she was in range with them. It just came down to a slugfest. As you can see, the entire video is about almost a full hour long.
Let's be real, we're probably down to about 712.
Right. Most of them are missing a leg.
And
Oh, are we? Oh,
both Warspite and West Virginia
shit, it's been repaired. There's nothing to do about it. God damn it, at least they're not on fire.
were
160 seconds.
very damaged. Warspite ended up being the victor. She almost was completely out of ammo by the end of it, with several guns, with her turrets knocked out.
The gun's dead already. God damn it. That's
You saw in one turret it only had 12 rounds of AP ammo left.
Wheelchair with BB guns with no friggin'.
But would you look at that?
And just dancing around each other.
And in
One wanted to get
in the
close,
end,
one wanted to stay far away. No one
West
could get that
Virginia
upper hand,
fell.
And it was just nutritional war. And look at the state, Warspite in the end.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Warspite,
With no guns working.
it was a close fight. I think in the end, though, Warspite's plot armor and main character energy really was the victor here. So, alright. Well, I will have a link to this video in my video description. It is a very good, it's a good, nice, good long fight, you know. You don't have one where, it's not one of those ones that you see also in a series where one ship is just vastly superior to the other. Good knockout fight. Anyway, have a nice day, everybody. If you have any questions on either ship, just feel free to ask them in the comments. See you later.